Hey, it's Alex, your pickleball partner. I'm here today to share with you my most dominant weapon. I'm going to help you construct your topspin forehand step by step. You can use this on serves to get some free points or to force a weak return, or you can even use this as a topspin forehand drive on your third shot to force some weaker force and give you an easier time dropping your fifth shot. I'm thinking about doing more videos like this, these tutorial style videos. So if you like this kind of content, then hit the like button on this video and also subscribe so I know what you want to see. So there are a lot of videos out there that teach topspin forehand and topspin serves, but I'm going to approach it a little bit differently. So I used to be a tennis coach, and I'm going to lean into my tennis coaching experience because teaching young kids or teenagers or even adults a topspin forehand for someone who's never played tennis before is honestly one of the hardest things to do. So I'm going to approach from that angle, and hopefully we can help you out. Now, tennis shots don't translate very well to pickleball because you don't have any tennis strings on a pickleball paddle. But some of these shots do work well from a foundational standpoint, and if you get the foundation mastered, it can help you hit really great pickleball shots. I'm going to be talking about the topspin forehand and a serve pretty much interchangeably throughout this video. They're pretty much the same shot, except that a serve, you get to toss the ball up to yourself, obviously. And when you toss the ball up to yourself, you get to control the contact point. And the main difference between a serve and a topspin forehand is that you need to position yourself, use your feet to move and get in position with the ball. And then the contact point is obviously going to be very different, because if somebody hits you a really low riding ball, the ball is not going to bounce as high. You're going to end up hitting your topspin forehand with a low contact point. So we're just going to start off, and I'm going to teach you from the perspective of serve, because that is when you can control your contact point. And once you get these basics down, you should be able to start applying this to your topspin forehand drives. All right, so let's start with that beginner foundation. All right, so I'm going to adjust the camera angle so you can see my feet. From the right side here, very simply, we're going to line up your 2 feet. So keep it simple. You have your front toe, your non-dominant foot is going to point towards the right post here when you're on the right side. And you're going to have your other foot almost parallel to the baseline here. It's going to create a natural turn in your body, and it's going to close your body off from the other side of the court. And this is important for when we need to start unwinding. We can wind our legs and uncork our body to create power. From the left side, you're going to keep your non-dominant foot still pointed at the right post, and we're going to once again make our right foot parallel to the baseline. One of the most important things in pickleball to create topspin is the angle of your paddle face when you make contact with a ball. So when you make contact with a paddle face, this is a flat paddle face. This is how you hit flat balls. If you open your paddle face like this is how you end up creating slice. You see how you come underneath the ball, and it causes the ball to naturally spin backwards, and you create this kind of backspin. For topspin, we want to approach the ball and hit it with a closed paddle face, because this will naturally create, you can see the ball will start spinning this way and create topspin. So how we're going to do that is we're going to skip the continental grip. We're going to go directly into the eastern grip, because that will help get us a more closed paddle face. And then I'll talk about later in the video a semi-western grip for a more aggressive topspin grip. But we'll get into that later. Now, if you have any confusion about the different grips I just mentioned, I do have a grip tutorial where I go over every single grip and how to hold it in relation to the bevels on your paddle, and I go into the pros and cons of each of those grips. So go ahead and check that video out if you need to get a brush up on your paddle grips and how to hold them. Otherwise, we'll get into it now. So to start, we want to minimize the amount of wrist movement and also elbow movement when we're hitting the serve. So we're going to get the fundamentals down. What you want to do, you want to line up your feet properly, like I just mentioned, and you want to go from low to high. All right, it's key to go low to high because you want to brush up the backside of the ball. So you keep your wrist more firm here. You want a lot of wrist action right now. You keep your elbow pretty much locked and keep that firm as well. And you're going to use your arm and swing. You're going to make contact with the ball with your eastern grip and a closed paddle face. So it looks something like this. All right. It's going to be how you get the fundamental. You see how the ball is spinning. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. You probably can't, but there's a lot of topspin on this ball right now. All right. What you're going to do is you're going to aim higher. You're practicing like this just to get the motion down. Now it's important that you also want to unwind your shoulders a little bit, because it's not going to feel very natural to stay locked in like this. It's going to hurt your shoulder. You're going to feel like impingement in your shoulder here. So what you want to do is you want to unwind your shoulder a little bit as you swing through. So you'll reach forward and hit up like this. All right. Now the ideal contact point is going to be somewhere around your waist level in front of you. So you want to get the ball to be tossed out here somewhere in front of the baseline. A little bit, I'd say probably about maybe 6 inches, a foot inside the baseline, depending on how long your arm is. But the ideal contact point is to make contact out in front of you. Toss it out here. It's going to finish up like that. That's it. So that's going to be the foundation of everything we're learning right here. And that'll be the beginner topspin forehand. All right. So after you're able to hit at least 10 in a row on this left side, you're serving from right to left, and then 10 in a row on the left side, serving left to right. We're going to move on to a more intermediate level serve. All right. So we're going to be focusing on trying to generate a bit more power here. And how we're going to do that is we're going to start corking our body and creating that unwind, as well as creating more power and momentum with the paddle. We're going to achieve that by doing a C loop with our arm, and then also a C loop with our wrist to create the wrist lag. So we'll start with corking our body. How we want to cork our body, or how we actually teach it in tennis, is we put our non-dominant hand out there as pretty much a guide, right? So when you go to hit your ball, you line up your forehand like this, have your non-dominant hand in front, and then as you pull your paddle back, your non-dominant hand comes with you, all right? Everything's connected here. And then so when you drop your ball for your serve here, you're going to swing forward and have your non-dominant hand follow and unwind. This is how you're going to create the uncorking motion. So it'll look something like this. I'll do it again, just to show you. All right, so this is the uncorking motion that you want to do. So the key is you keep your arms pretty much linked together, and then you're going to, anytime you turn, you're going to move your non-dominant hand with you. Anytime you unwind, you're going to move your non-dominant hand with you as well. That's how you're going to create the uncorking motion. So the second part of this is you want to create a C loop with your arm. So a C loop with your arm is going to look something like this. You're going to create this loop motion here. So you start higher, you come back around, get below the ball like we did in the beginner foundation step, and you're going to come up and brush up behind the ball. This creates some momentum with your paddle face. So it'll look like this. Do it again. I'm still locking. Right now I'm not using my wrist right now. I'm not using too much elbow either. I'm just creating this C loop motion with my arm. All right. It feels very awkward to me because I'm used to using everything else, but you got to practice that to get the hang of it. So then the last step here in the intermediate phase, we're going to create some wrist lag by doing a C loop with our wrist as well. So it's going to look like this. Your wrist is going to do this motion where you take it back and you're going to whip. You're going to do just the wrist whip right here. If you see this, taking it back, dip, and whip. So you're going to pull the paddle back with your wrist like this, dip underneath the ball, and then you're going to brush up the back of the ball like this, create a topspin. You're going to finish through. So this is the C whip with your wrist. Oh, here, let me get the ball for you. Sorry. Here you go. All right, so you're gonna create the C whip with your wrist here to create wrist lag. It's gonna look very awkward, but I'm gonna do only the wrist lag and show you what that looks like. All right. So you see how much power you're able to generate with just your wrist using almost no arm. So then to master this intermediate level, you want to combine all of that together. So remember, you want to combine the pull back of your backswing with your arms locked together to create the corking and unwinding. You also want to create the arm loop with the C, and then you want to add the wrist C loop in there as well to create that wrist lag. When you put it all together, you're going to get a lot more power. All right, so for this final step, we're going to be adding even more power to our serve. And how we're going to achieve that is by corking our body even more. And we're going to switch our grip to a semi-western grip so that we can get even more topspin. Because when we add all this extra power, it's going to be really hard to keep the ball in the court if we don't get some more topspin on it. So we're going to shift our grip to a semi-western grip. And then we're also going to start incorporating our legs. So I'll start with the first two parts of it first, and then I'm going to adjust the camera angle so you can see my legs as I'm hitting these serves. So to add more power by corking and uncorking your upper body, I mean, it's really simple. It's just a bigger backswing, right? So instead of waiting here and dropping the ball and hitting forward like this, we're actually going to cork our body almost backwards to take a bigger backswing. And then we're going to do our C motion in the back here. And as we're unwinding our C motion, we're going to come forward and make contact with the ball in front. That's going to create an additional, a pretty big chunk of power just by pulling a bigger backswing. Now, I know what you're thinking. Bigger backswing, people always say like, hey, in pickleball, you're trying to maintain these really compact swings. Well, that's true, because, you know, pickleball is a game of time. And, you know, with bigger backswings, you're going to have a longer recovery time, which means less time for you to get back to ready position. And you're obviously going to be at a disadvantage. So I'm not telling you to take these giant backswings on every single shot, every single forehand you hit. But for a shot like the serve, right, where you have a lot of time here, you got to stay back and you got to wait for the ball to drop anyways. It's perfectly fine to take a big backswing. And then also on topspin drives, right? Like if you're hitting a third shot from the baseline, someone hit a great return, it's pushing you all the way back here, and you can't really, you know, approach the net aggressively and hit like a approach shot, and you feel like you're in trouble and you don't feel confident hitting a drop. It's a great time to just take a big backswing, rip a forehand drive, you know, force them to hit a nice clean volley. You know, if they're not too good at volleying or they're not good at countering, they might pop it up to you and you can attack the next ball. And worst case scenario, they hit a solid volley, but it's probably going to be shorter than the return they just hit. And you can hit your fifth shot drop off that. So let's try focusing on getting a bigger corking, uncorking motion here. I'll show you what that looks like. So instead of starting here and just hitting forward, we're going to take a bigger backswing when we toss the ball, and then we're going to uncork that way. So it looks something like this. You see there's a lot more power there. You can even hear the ball whistling a little bit because of how much you're corking and uncorking your body. So again, I'll show you with a bigger backswing. You take it back here and then uncork. You see that my hand, my tossing hand, when I toss the ball up, I'm almost following back here and then I'm unwinding back open. So that's all with the semi-western, or sorry, that's all with the eastern grip. So now we're gonna add the extra change to go semi-western. Because semi-western is gonna be a lot more aggressive and gives a lot more spin. Again, if you don't know the semi-western, check out the pickleball grip tutorial video. It goes over all the different grips and you can help figure out your grip there. So you're gonna change your grip to semi-western here. You're gonna have to do an even more aggressive C loop. Make sure you get underneath the ball. One of the biggest issues that people have when switching to a semi-western grip initially is they don't get underneath the ball. And when you don't get underneath the ball, you end up causing the ball to dive. So I'll show you what it looks like if you don't get underneath the ball with a semi-western grip. It will cause the ball to dive in the net. So it looks something like this. So if you don't get underneath the ball, you're not getting that lift. You're not brushing the ball from underneath the backside of it. So instead of getting topspin, you're kind of just causing the ball to dive straight down, right? You're gonna end up hitting the ball like this. It's gonna go straight down in the ground. So you need to make sure you get underneath the ball with a semi-western grip and come over the top. You'll create that crazy spin. So I'll show you what it looks like if you do it right. You see the arc on that ball? This is what semi-western gives you. Gives you that crazy spin. All right, so now I'm going to adjust the angle of this camera so that you can get a look at my feet, and I'll show you how to do incorporate your legs. All right, so I adjusted the camera angle here so you can see my legs. So it's going to be a little bit different here. So the whole time we've been practicing right now is you've kind of been standing up, and when you unwind, you know, there's a little natural lift of your heel that comes up because your body's unwinding, your leg, it only stretches so far. You're gonna break your ankles here. Your leg's coming up a little bit. When we want to incorporate our legs, really add power from our legs, you're gonna want to almost squat, right? You're gonna get into this position where you're bending into your serve, you're gonna squat into your serve, and then as you're unleashing your upper body and uncorking and coming through, your legs are also going to push and propel your body weight forward. So a good way to train this is that you want to actually fall into the court when you're hitting your serve. So instead of standing back here, hitting your serve normally like this and having this balance, you're gonna actually want to fall forward into your serve. You're gonna cork your legs, bend your legs, cork your legs like this. You're gonna fall into the serve. Try that again. By adding these extra legs, you can create a lot more power. Now, the whole difficulty, I guess I would say, of putting all this together is that it's not easy to sync every single one of these pieces up. So, from the beginner foundations that we just went over to the intermediate step of doing the C motion with the wrist lag and uncorking your shoulders, and then adding in these legs, propelling forward, it becomes really difficult to time it all up. But when you finally master it all, you want to be incorporating your legs, launching into the ball and propelling your weight forward while making contact with the ball all at the same time. And that's when you're gonna get a really powerful serve. So it looks something like this. Again. One more time. You'll see that my legs actually lift off the ground because of how violently I'm exploding. And it's actually lifting my legs into the air. And that's perfectly fine. That's actually a sign that you're doing it right. You're actually pushing your legs forward. One important thing to note though, that the rules in pickleball, you don't want to break them. You need to make contact with the ball before both your feet leave the ground. So I think the rule is one foot must be in contact with the ground when you make contact. The other foot can be leaving the ground. But after you make contact with the ball is when your legs can open up and leave the ground. So now that you know what that serve looks like from the ground level, I'm going to show you a couple more times from this angle just so you can see how the body mechanics look. You see they're all landing really deep, right? There's a lot of topspin, a lot of power that's going over the net, but it's also dipping down back into the court and it's not like flying straight out. So it's really important that you can master all these mechanics here. All right, that's it. It's gonna take a lot of time to master. I'm not gonna lie, it takes a while. There's so many moving pieces here and everything needs to be in sync and everything's gotta flow together, right? If you whip too early with your wrist, you're gonna end up spraying the ball. If you swing too early with your arm, you're gonna end up spraying the ball or probably shanking it. If you uncork your body too quickly and your legs haven't started the unwinding motion, you're gonna lose a lot of power. It's pretty much only gonna be upper body there. So just take the time to practice it. It is well worth it. And once you master it, it's gonna be a significant weapon for you. So let's recap main points and how to hit a topspin serve, and we'll go over some of the things that we all went over in the beginner, intermediate, and advanced portion of this video. So most importantly, we want to make sure that we make contact with the ball with a closed paddle face, and how we're going to achieve that is with an Eastern grip for the beginner intermediate level, and then switching to a semi-Western grip for the advanced level. The second most important thing you want to remember is that we're doing a low to high swing path so that we can brush up the backside of the ball, right? We don't want to be hitting over top of the ball or in line with the ball. We want to actually get underneath the ball and go from low to high. It'll create a lot of topspin there. One of the ways we're going to create some power is also remembering to do the C motion, right? We're going to do the C motion with our arm. We're also going to do the C motion with our wrist, and that's going to create the wrist lag, and that's going to generate a lot of paddle momentum to create a lot of extra power. And then in addition to that, a fourth step here is the corking of your body. You want to make sure that we are corking and uncorking our body so that we get that extra power from our body mechanics and our swing mechanic. And then the last step here Probably the most difficult part is getting your legs into it, is bending your legs and loading your legs, and then using your legs to generate a lot of the power as you're uncorking and pushing your legs up through your body and your kinetic chain to generate that amount of extra pop and power on your serve. But yeah, that's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, then go ahead and leave a comment down below and tell me what you liked about it. If there's any questions and you feel like I missed something, or you have some follow-up questions to what I explained in this video, go ahead and leave a comment. I'll be happy to answer those questions as well. But if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more of it, then hit that like button and also subscribe, because that helps me understand YouTube's algorithm and it will let me know what kind of content you guys like to see. But yeah, go ahead and give me that follow, and stay tuned. I'll be putting out more review videos. You won't have to miss any of those, more gameplay videos, and also hopefully more tutorials as I journey and try to reach a 5.0 duper rating. Thanks guys, have a great day.